welcome to JoJo's Corner. Today I'm so excited to bring you guys another book review. This is for a fiction book. It's called Stilling the Preacher by Witemeyer.
On his way to interview for a position at a church in the Piney Woods of Texas, Crockett Archer can't believe it when he's forced off the train by an outlaw and presented to the man's daughter as the preacher she requested for her birthday. He's determined to escape, which would be easier if he could stop thinking about Joanna Robbins and her unexpected request. For months, Joanna had prayed for a minister, a man to breathe life back into the abandoned church at the heart of her community, a man to assist her in fulfilling a promise to her dying mother. But just when it seems her prayers have been answered, it turns out the parson is there against his will and has dreams of his own calling elsewhere.
I'll be honest, when I requested this book, I didn't really know what to expect. I don't even think I read the synopsis when I requested it. I just knew that I'd been seeing it here, there, and yonder. I heard it was coming out, and I'm trying to get more into historical fiction and reading in different genres and things I don't typically read. And so I selected it, and I just thought, okay, it's probably this girl and this preacher comes to the church and she's trying to steal him, But when I got the book in the mail and began reading, I was blown away. I was like, this is not your typical historical fiction story, and I absolutely loved it. I totally loved the character Crockett from the beginning. It is so hilarious. The opening scene, the way the author has written this, it just keeps you turning pages, and it's such a fun, funny, lovable story. Talk about this is not your typical pulpit committee, okay? I've heard of some pretty tough pulpit committees, in search of new pastors and everything for churches, but it is nothing like what happens to poor Crockett here in Stilling the Preacher. I absolutely loved, I thought it was hilarious. I love this book so much. I love these characters. I love the father-daughter just relationship between Joanna and her dad Silas. I think with Father's Day coming up that this is such a wonderful read. I love that, she lost her mom, and her mom was the spiritual leader of the family per se. She was the one that was into church, and she was the one that passed on all of these teachings and passed on all of these wonderful things to her daughter and to her family. But then there's Silas, her dad, Joanna's dad, who is just, he's not a believer, he's not, he's kind of cynical when it comes to preachers and things like that, and so in the church and things of faith. But nevertheless, it's his daughter's birthday, and the one thing that she's been praying for and wants more than anything in this world is a preacher. And so that is exactly what he's going to get her for her birthday. It makes for some amazing storytelling. I absolutely love this book. I love everything about it. This is probably one of my favorite books I've read this year. Hands down, I loved this book. I enjoyed this book so much that I created a Pinterest board for it, and I would love for you to check that out just for fun. Something else that I have to mention about this book is just the whole faith message of God has a plan. And when Crockett is, taken captive by these men, and he's brought to this place where this young woman, Joanna, has been praying for a preacher to come. To me, the message of this book is totally just trusting in God, trusting in His plans, that even when things don't go the way that we think they were going to go, or we think they should go, or they ought to go, if we're trusting in God and we're following His plan for our lives, then we can know that He's working all things together for good, even train robberies, even being, kidnapped against our will. I absolutely love the message of that in this story, that God He's working in our lives. He cares about the details. Another thing in this book was Joanna's father was real cynical of a preacher, and cynical, I think, of the church and faith, and this is a huge concern for Joanna. This is one of the main reasons that she wants a preacher to come to the church so she can build the church back up. But Crockett is not your typical preacher. And he, there's a scene in the very opening where he actually fights back. He fights back these bandits that are trying to kidnap him, and he doesn't know what's going on. And they're just like, hey, whatever happened to turn the other cheek, So he's not at all what they were expecting. And after a while, especially I think when her dad begins to notice that there's something going on a little bit between them, romantically, between Joanna and between Crockett, he doesn't like it. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to get rid of this guy. So I absolutely love these characters. I love this story. I give Stealing the Preacher by Karen Witemeyer 5 out of 5 stars. I would give this a 6 out of 5 of 5. I mean, I would give it more than that, but that 5 is as high as it gets. So on my blog. So I'm going with a 5. This has been my review of Stealing the Preacher by Karen Witemeyer. From JoJo's Corner, until next time, happy reading. Bye, everybody.